It's no secret that Classic is my favourite version of World of Warcraft, and that retail is just terrible, right? Well, my friend recently challenged me by saying, how can I say retail is terrible when I haven't played it in so many years? And after some thought and reflection, I came to the realization that he's right. And I bet that 90% of my audience watching this video are in exactly the same boat. You see, there seems to be some division between versions of World of Warcraft. You're either a retail player or you're a classic player, and those guys just can't be friends. And as a classic player, could I even compete in retail, not knowing anything about the game? No new rotations, no dungeons, no new abilities, arena strategies, BG strats, etc. So today, I've challenged myself. I'm going to play retail for 24 hours to see if it's possible to go from level 1 being a complete noob to becoming a rival in arena, which I'm told is considered the top 20% of players and allows you to unlock the elite transmog. So grab a drink and join me on my journey as a retail noob as we experience retail together to see if it's a good game or not. Firstly, character creation. I noticed that there's tons of customization here. It's totally different to classic. Not that I really care about these things, but it's good to know. I'm just going to make a night elf mage called Shauno here YouTube, and this is how I look. Straight away, I noticed there's two options to begin leveling. I decided to pick the Exiles Reach, as I don't know what that is. It turns out that Exiles Reach is a new thing to the game, and it's basically a new player island. It teaches you the basics of WoW, which is great. It's very dumbed down so new players can learn very quickly. The only annoying thing about this island is that you can't access some of the settings and customization, so I've stuck with this UI, which I absolutely hate. All in all, the island is pretty good, and it's very good for new players to join there. The rotation they teach you is very basic though. It basically teaches you to cast your spells while the mob is further away, and when they reach you then use your instant cast spells. Nothing about kiting or anything else, but as a new player I guess you don't want to overcomplicate it, so that's fine. Once completing Exiles Reach, I did finally get access to the new edit feature, which is absolutely awesome. You can set up the UI exactly how you like it without any extra add-ons. But the only issue is, me being the classic Andy that I am, I could not get on with this feature. I couldn't set up the UI the way I wanted to, so I did end up getting an add-on called Bartender to make my UI basically the same as classic. So as you can see here, I've got the classic UI in retail, which feels a lot better to me, and as I switch between games, it's very easy. It's not perfect, but it's better than what I had. On top of this, I did have to get an add-on called Classic Numbers, so that the spell damage numbers also look like classic, and I felt much more at home. I didn't like the new style of numbers, and I like the big in-your-face numbers, so this was much better. At level 10, I did manage to get access to Chromie time. Chromie time basically allows you to level exactly how you want. I wasn't sure whether I'd like this feature or not, but I actually really liked it. A lot of the old quests from Classic are still basically the same, so I managed to be able to easily level in Redridge Mountains, Westfall, Elwyn Forest, etc. and it felt just like Classic, but a lot more modern. The other advantage here is that you don't actually need any add-ons like Rested XP or Quest Guiders. It's all built into the game and it all works really well. I also joined the dungeon queues and managed to visit some of my old favourite classic dungeons, some of which have been split up into multiple dungeons, like Maradon for example. Instead of being one massive dungeon, they've split all the bosses up so you can do different sections. I came to a quick realization that retail is pushing for faster dungeons, so dungeons were rarely longer than 20 minutes. This was refreshing for me as a dad gamer. I could easily do the dungeons as and when, and I could just literally join the queue, but the experience is not the same as Classic. I feel like in Classic you get a proper feel for the dungeon and you spend more time there, whereas this is just rushing through. The big W for Chromie time is that you can level and do dungeons in any expansion you want, all the way to level 70. This means you can play with your friends no matter the level, as you all scale together. So it's pretty nice not having to follow a certain campaign. You can just quest exactly where you want to. So going back to Westfall for me was absolutely amazing. Once I reached level 70, I got into the new War Within campaign and I managed to do loads of the new dungeons. Now these dungeons are actually insane. If you think the classic dungeons were fast, some of these we were completing in around 5 minutes. Also, the new dragon riding feature, which technically isn't dragon riding anymore as you can use any mount you want, but the new flying technique is absolutely insane. It's really fun to do, it's really fast, and there is a skill cap involved in it, but once you get used to it, you actually prefer it. And you can easily knock people off of their mounts, so it's a lot better than the classic flying. At this point, I did realize retail is like super injected, fast-paced gameplay. Everything is rush, 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 quick, quick, quick. Total opposite of classic. And the dungeons are very fun to play, but again, it's a totally different experience to classic. And I'm starting to realize why there is such a division. Eventually, I did reach level 80, which took me just over 13 hours. That's not exactly a fast time, but I did go at a slower pace and I did really enjoy the leveling experience. I had to learn some new rotations, how to play, etc. So you can level a lot faster than this, but either way, it's a decent time. It gave me some time to get gear and push rating for my challenge. I also realized that the new hero talents in the War Within were just hero talents. There was no stupid quest or reputation locked behind it, which is a huge development from the old days. What I really hated about retail in the past, that you had to do a certain quest line or have a certain reputation, and over the weeks you would fall behind from everyone else. Whereas these are talents and you just always have them. So at this point I checked out the PvP gear and I couldn't believe it. PvP gear has a separate item level which activates only in PvP. Nothing is locked behind PvE and you can buy everything for honor. I was actually amazed. There is hardly any barrier for entry, and they've also added solo queues for both arena and battlegrounds. After studying online, I found the quickest way to gear up was to farm war crates. Each crate that you loot gave bloody tokens, conquest and honor. Honor rewarded green gear at 665 item level. Bloody tokens rewarded epic gear at 675 item level, but only had specific stats. Conquest rewarded the best in slot gear at 678 item level. So this is crate farming. Basically, you get in a group and you look for these crates and you have a timer for these crates. You go and farm them. Each time you loot, you get gear. I farmed these crates for some time until I had enough gear to start actually farming rated content. Now, I will say on this is because I'm slightly behind in the season. So this is the easiest and probably the fastest way to catch up. So as you can see here, I ended up getting as many bloody token pieces as possible. I got my 2 set for PvP, which you can do by converting your conquest items in a machine that makes them into set items for PvP, which is really, really good. So you don't have to PvE at all if you don't want to. And the rest I filled out with honor pieces. I was ready to brave rated PvP. My friend told me once reaching 2,500 conquest, I could get a best in slot weapon for free, and after some time doing rated PvP, I'll also get a quest that will give me enough gladiator heraldries, which is a new thing to craft items, to craft 2 678 item level rings and a neck. And I can also add embellishments. Now this whole system did confuse me for a while and put me off, but after a little while of researching, I realized it's actually very simple to do. So what you can use is something called a crafting order, which is actually very, very good. Instead of physically crafting the item, what you can do is go to the crafting order, which is kind of like an auction house, but for crafters. You put the items in there, you put the amount of gold that you want to tip, and then people will basically craft your item on that tab at a first come first serve basis, and they'll receive the tip that you give. So I did this like this. You add the heraldry, you add all the stats that you want until you have the item that you want, and basically this was fulfilled within an hour and it turned up in my mailbox. The first thing I tried was the new solo battleground blitz, which confused me for a while because the battlegrounds are actually totally different. Your mount speed is a lot faster and there's little things that are different, and the teams are also smaller. But after some time I did realize this is probably the worst way to go, because I was in a group full of helmets and they were not very good at the game. I think we did manage to just scrape a win, which actually rewarded us with our heraldries, but I decided I'm not going to do that again. because it's going to take far too long because of the amount of helmets that are in the group. It will be much easier for me to go into arena games than into BGs. So now I had my items that I needed with the embellishments, which add a little bit of damage, which are very basic. You just add them to the crafting order. I was ready to go for my arena games. So now I am in my first solo shuffle. I did download an add-on for enemy arena frames, and you can see here everyone is at 0 rating except for one healer. Now how this works is basically there are 6 rounds, so everyone can face each other at least once, and you gain rating based on how many rounds that you win. Now we did lose the first round as my partner got completely destroyed here, and I was a little bit lost, to be honest. I'm still learning my rotation at this point, and we did lose the first round. Into the second round, I found out one of the biggest flaws in solo shuffle. Now the problem is that you're in the queue for such a long time to get into this game, you're relying on all your other teammates. So I go to CC the monk here, I get him into a polymorph, and then I use a big ray of frost on the enemy, and we just blow them up. Now the problem with this was we did outplay them, but at this point the healer had rage quit. So basically I was in the queue for so long just for someone to quit the game. So as you can see here, the monk is just in the entry room because he's rage quit. So we will of course lose a game. I did try to kill the warrior 2v3, but it wasn't going to happen. They just blew up the priest. So we actually lost that game. Well, I didn't lose rating, but we only gained 31 rating because the guy rage quit. So this was one big problem. So in my second shuffle, we were in the brand new arena. So this is one of many new arenas that I haven't done before. So being a second game, I was still very rusty. I didn't know what I was doing, to be honest, but I knew I had this new ability called Ice Wall, and I have seen streams of this before. So all I needed to do was use the Ice Wall between the healer and the DPS, which could easily win this game. And I can see where the warrior is and where the monk is. If I land the Ice Wall correctly, I can blow up the warrior. So you can see here, this new ability is actually very strong because the monk can't get anywhere near to heal him. So at that point, I felt like I could achieve this challenge if I wanted to. So we ended up in game number 2, winning by 4 times. The rogue didn't win at all, so that was part of the problem, and our new rating was 415. In shuffle number 3, I did feel out of depth. I only won 2 rounds, but I did manage to gain rating because my rating is so low at the moment, so we're up to 670 rating. Game number 5 though, I felt a lot better in my abilities, and I did push a little bit better. Although I'm still pretty bad at kiting, we did get sheep and killed off the rogue, and I managed to win 5 games in total in this shuffle, and I felt a lot more confident, although at times I felt really bad at kiting. Our new rating was now 1148. In shuffle number 5, we managed to win 4 of the rounds and had a new rating of 1518. In shuffle number 6, we did manage to win 5 rounds again, which gave me a new rating of 1612. Now bear in mind, I had never played retail before. I don't have any add-ons other than the arena frames. This is just purely by learning my rotation and polymorphing and using Ice Wall. Number 7, we only won 3 rounds, which is kind of like a draw, but I did still gain rating as I was still quite low, so our new rating is 1666. Shuffle number 8 was not the best round. There was a warrior there that absolutely bossed it and got 6 rounds. Our new rating is 1699. Shuffle number 9, again there was a really good Death Knight who won 6 rounds. We only won 2 rounds and our new rating was 1728. Shuffle number 10, we won 4 rounds and our new rating was 1779. At this point I thought the challenge was done. I just had to win a couple more rounds in the next shuffle. Although sadly in shuffle number 11, I was against 2 shamans, 1 elemental, 1 enhanced, and they really did counter me hard, especially as a new player. I felt like a complete noob and I lost 30 rating. Our rating was now 1749. At shuffle number 12 here, we were 3 wins in. The monk didn't win a single game. So he said in the chat, yeah, good luck, and basically he threw the game. which really annoys me. So this is Steph Monk from Silvermoon. I really hate you for doing this, especially as we stay in the queue for such a long time. But as you can see, he just stayed in the starting room, so there was no chance we could win. We did try and do a wombo combo onto the shaman, but that just didn't work. So the rogue ended up dying before the shaman, and yeah, that monk is an idiot, man. If you know him, just tell him he's silly. But our rating didn't change and we were at 1,749. Shuffle number 13, again, wasn't the best round. There was a really good warlock in there. We only won 3 rounds and we stayed at exactly the same rating. Shuffle number 14, we were doing okay, but someone quit in the middle of the round, so we didn't gain much rating here either. Now this was a real big problem because we were in the queue for like 20 minutes, so when people leave, it really ruins the experience. Shuffle number 15, we won 3 rounds and we gained just 5 rating, 1,758. Shuffle number 16 didn't go too well, but I did have one moment of glory here. I knocked off the priest and then killed the warrior. We didn't gain or lose any rating. We stayed at 1,758. I knew that I needed a really strong game, and I was 4 wins up into the final round. I was trying my best to peel my teammate because he was getting slapped. In the end, I did manage to land half a poly and kill off the paladin, which gave me my new rating of 1,816. Now at this point I wanted to check my played, and it was actually 1 day, 1 hour, 34 minutes. So actually 25 hours and 34 minutes, not the 24 hours. So I actually failed my challenge, but to be honest, because of the queue times, the people leaving, etc., going from 0, level 1, all the way up to, you can see the title here and the transmog, to 1800 in 25 hours and 38 minutes. This was without any add-ons, and my experience of retail is very little. I just know how to use my polymorph. To summarize my experience, I was actually pretty shocked. Retail is actually a very good game in its own right. It respects your time and you can easily just log in and play without having to find groups, etc. This was great as a dad gamer, as I often find myself playing in blocks, etc. That said, I still very much enjoy Classic, and I think that Classic is the best version of the game. However, I will say that there is a place for both games, and I'd encourage many of you to try it out for yourself. There are many areas of retail that I haven't experienced yet, but I was shocked that I was able to join as a Classic player after so many years and still be somewhat competitive. I have a long way to go and lots to learn, but it's been a fun challenge. If you've enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments if you think that I should do more. Thanks for watching this video, guys, and have a lovely day.